What's going on, fellas? It's another Boogie. Y'all know the rest. Hey, I want to salute y'all for subscribing to my channel. And I also want to thank y'all for liking my videos. And shout out to the Dime Game Division. Let's rock and roll, man. A man wasn't put on earth to be scared of the opposite sex. To be scared of women. A man was put on earth to be fruitful and multiply. Fear isn't in that equation. You know what I'm saying? And I understand where the fear comes from. And it's multifaceted, right? It doesn't stay still. It's going to be different for every man. Some guys can stand in front of a very beautiful woman and that woman becomes a mirror, and all his insecurities come to the surface. And that can cause a man's behavior to change dramatically, if that man isn't in tune with himself. Some guys have a fear and anxiety of approaching women. Some guys have a fear of being alone with a woman. Because a man understands when you're alone with a woman, you got to go from A to Z. You know what I'm saying? You got to be able to go from the car to the house to grabbing her hand and making your way into the bedroom. You have to be able to transition from A to Z. You got to be able to do it smooth. You got to be able to do it with precision. And you have to be able to do it with a level of expertise, all at the same time. Keeping the woman feeling safe, keeping the woman feeling secure in your presence. You know what I'm saying? Keeping the woman interested. You got to be able to go from A to Z. So a lot of guys have fear when it comes to that right there, And my thing is this. All of these things are understandable, right? If a man is keeping it real with himself, in life as men, we were born with natural talents, right? Certain gifts that the universe gives us. Everything else we have to learn how to do. We have to learn how to drive a car. We learn how to ride a bike, Most started out with training wheels. At the job that you work at, you had training. You learn how to shoot a weapon. You had to learn how to cook, etc., etc., etc. Most things that people do are learned behaviors. You know what I'm saying? It's only a small percent of things that guys had the knack for naturally, right? And it's the same thing with women. A lot of guys let that pride and that ego get way too out of whack to take time to teach themselves, whether, self-taught, whether you get a coach, whether you're learning from somebody else and you just taking mental notes of what they doing. You might mimic them a little bit. Whatever the case is, a lot of guys let that pride and ego get in the way of becoming the best version of themselves. Dealing with women isn't always an easy thing. And it's usually the women that we actually want, you know what I'm saying, that a lot of guys may have an issue here and there with, because it's too easy for the girls that we really don't want for us to kind of boss up on and to run a mean dime game on, because you got nothing to lose, right? You like, if this don't work out, I really didn't want to hear anyway. You know what I'm saying? So I'll be the first to admit that dealing with women, it comes with its ups and downs. It's not always an easy thing to do. You know what I'm saying? But like anything else in life, repetition is key and you'll get better at it. Sex alone isn't always an easy, pleasurable thing if you're dealing with insecurities on the, on the inside of you. You know what I'm saying? whatever that may be. Again, it's like riding a bike. You can learn how to get better at it. You know, you take some time, be patient with yourself. Don't be too hard on yourself. You know, but the first thing you have to do is be real about your weaknesses. You know what I'm saying? You can't struggle in the bedroom and then turn around and spaz out on women. You know what I'm saying? Because they didn't have an enjoyable time with you. I mean, what sense does that make? How does that help you as a man? Like, seriously, how? So many guys have trouble in the area of sex that they literally have a whole industry around it. You know, it's sex therapists and sex counselors and sex coaches out here. Globally. You know what I'm saying? Globally. This is how prominent stuff like this is. You know, and the behaviors. Male behavior patterns, many times it starts with sexual frustrations. Real talk. Sexual frustrations. How well a man does with women. So for me, I'm pretty spot on at this point. I would say when it comes to spotting certain behaviors in men, I'm shooting 95% from the free throw line. I can tell a guy that's satisfied with his sexual life, and I can tell a guy that isn't. That man doesn't have to say one word to me. I can watch him for 45 seconds. And usually I'm spot on with my assessment, man. A man that can please a woman, really in and out of the bedroom, but right now I'm talking about the bedroom. A man that can please a woman in the bedroom, dog, he has a level of poise inside of him that can't even be explained. You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all know how women talk about big D energy? Well, that's a part of it too. You know what I'm saying? Guys that know what they doing in the bedroom. And it don't necessarily have to be that, but you just may have figured out a way, in your own little way, to please a woman in the bedroom and leave a woman satisfied. Yes, it puts a pep in your step as a man. To know that you know what you're doing. To know that the woman know that you know what you're doing. It put a pep in your step as a man. Point blank period, man. You know, women give men validation. Whether we want to admit it or not, whatever. You know, I don't even live in that world, but they do. You know, all men like the feeling of walking down the hallway and one of the finer women at the job is looking at you up and down. You know she checking you out. You checking her out while she checking you out. You know, and you know you got the high ground. You know, just that sheer raw masculinity has become present. You know, y'all energies have intertwined. Pheromones is popping. All men want that experience, man. You know what I'm saying? Point blank period. And if you don't, that's unfortunate, because I love it. I like it. I like when I walk into a room and I look at a woman's face when she come across me, you know, if the attraction is there. I like stuff like that, man. You know what I'm saying? I like when a woman is around me and, you know, she get a little touchy-feely. You know what I'm saying? And she's stuttering on her words a little bit, and she done did whatever she could do to put her hands on me. See, I like stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? I like when women go out of their way to make themselves accessible for me. I like all that. I have grown accustomed to that for the most part. You know what I'm saying? I have. You know, and that's pretty much the world that I've been living in, you know, for the past 12, 13 years. Snapple top fact. Snapple top fact. So, for me, fear is not a part of that equation. You know, it's just really getting over your own nerves. You know what I mean? Just getting over your own nerves. And yeah, man, it could be a little frustrating when, you know, you come across a certain woman and things aren't going exactly how you planned it to go. That's when you got to become ambidextrous, man. You used to dribbling the ball with your right hand. Now you got to dribble with your left. It's that simple. All right, the left hand ain't working. Now you got to hit it with the fadeaway. How's your footwork? You know, A man has to be adaptable. I've said it 1,000 times. The biggest tool a man has on the battlefield is being adaptable to any given situation. People are very complex. And that's why I'm very careful about the advice that I take from anybody online, because I understand there's so many nuances and complexities and details of people and their personality and their quirks and their triggers that, it would take years to even go through all of that information. Some things is just better left experiencing it. You know what I mean? It's my personal opinion. Man. Dealing with women is not a one-size-fit-all. You know what I mean? Never has, never will be. Women are just vastly different in their perspectives and how they see the world and what they've been through. And, it's just so much with that. But the more women that you talk to, the more women that you're around, the more women that you deal with, you start to create reference points in your own mind on how to deal with that. And that's how you fight back against the fear and the nerves. Why? Because you've been there before. You know what you're doing. You're like, oh, this looks very familiar. You go back to that reference point in your mind, and it's just like muscle memory, you know what I'm saying? And like anything else, man. Like anything else. And that's just how I feel about that stuff, man. You got to get out your own way as a man. But the first thing you got to do, man, is drop the pride and the ego. You know what I'm saying? Clint Eastwood said, every man should know his weaknesses. That way you can work on them. You know what I'm saying? Real talk. If dealing with women was just super easy, right? If dealing with women in and out of the bedroom was that easy, then every man would be a womanizer, wouldn't he? Every man would have 3 or 4 women on his own, wouldn't he? It wouldn't be a such thing as an incel. You wouldn't even need all of these pills and these groups if dealing with women was that easy, but it's not. It's not. Some guys have figured it out for themselves. They worked around their weaknesses. You know what I mean? They figured out their gifts. They mastered who they are. They know their lane. They know the kind of women that respond to them. So some guys had created a lane specifically for them. And that's wonderful. You know what I mean? I salute those kind of guys. Some guys were born naturals. I got to put that out there too. Some guys were just born naturals. Some guys had the looks. They just had the whole package, the charisma, this and that. Women are always going to flock to those guys. And for the rest of the guys, we had to learn and practice and become good at certain things. But either way, the results are the same. Whether you took the elevator or you took the stairs, you got to the top, man. Get rid of the fear. We weren't put on earth to be scared of the opposite sex. Shout out to the Dime Game Division. Peace.